Hey guys, this is Nick from ForexForNoobs.com with my midday analysis. If you enjoy this analysis and my other videos, hit the subscribe button below this video. Subscribing to my YouTube channel gives you an instant notification whenever I add a new video. Also, please hit the like button below if you find this video useful. So before I start the analysis, I want to explain how it works so you can actually use it in your trading. On most Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, I hold a live analysis session for my Forex Mastermind students. These sessions are recorded and posted to YouTube. I say most because some days I'm busy and other days I'm not trading, and I have a rule: when I'm not trading, I do not post analysis. In the analysis, I look for price action reversal setups on around 10 to 20 pairs that I'm currently trading. I check every time frame for every pair, taking a systematic approach to doing analysis. Personally, I do this analysis several times per day, but only the midday session is recorded as most setups are spotted then. So what are setups? A reversal setup occurs when price stalls at an area of support resistance and a transition of power occurs, from buyers to sellers or from sellers to buyers. I wait for price to approach these areas and spot potential setups. But these setups are not actual trades. When I share a setup on this analysis, it doesn't mean I'm entering the trade right away. Setups are just setups, and many setups do not trigger, so they never actually become trades. But some of them do, of course, and some of them become trades. To understand this, you have to know a little bit about my strategy, which I share for free on ForexForNoobs.com, and there's a link to the strategy also below. I use 4 different tags in the name of these analysis videos. The tags are in brackets at the end of the name. It's important to know these tags just so you understand what is in the video. So if you see no setups, that means there are no setups today, obviously. If you see upcoming setups on, that means there are no setups, but I have spotted some very strong support resistance areas, which may lead to setups later in the day. So that could be anywhere between a few hours to a whole day. And if it's tagged with setups on, that means there are setups today, and I'm sharing potential trades in the video itself. So let's get started with the analysis. Today is Thursday, the 17th of August, 2017, and the time is 12:03 here in the UK. You're looking at I'm going to switch to an AUDUSD daily chart. There we go. In today's analysis, we're going to be looking for reversal setups. We're also going to be discussing the setups I shared on Tuesday. If you remember, I shared a few setups on Tuesday. For those of you who were here live, I shared these were discussed in length on the forum, but I'm going to go over them anyway, just for the YouTube, for people who are watching only through YouTube, the people who don't have access to the forum. So I'm going to start off with AUDUSD. Who took this one, by the way? There wasn't as much discussion as I would have expected in the forum about this one. So I'm not sure if few of you took this one or if just it wasn't really discussed that much. John, you took it? Cool. Ah, that sucks, Ash. You took it at like, all right, so a few of you who were in here took it. It was, well, 2 of you so far. Only 2 of you? Oh wait, John's in here. I know John took it. Oh, sorry, John just said he took it. I was, sorry, I was mixing up this John with another John. Guys, you want to know a secret? Ash and Rodolfo. I was sleeping too. I just set up a pending order and a trigger while I was asleep. That's usually how you do it, because you can't be at your computer 24/7, or you can't be on your phone 24/7. That's a secret to being a successful trader. Well, for me anyway, I spend as little chart time as possible trading each week. So like I don't spend my whole day at the charts, on the charts rather. I try to spend as little time as possible looking at charts. I'll just set up pending orders and I'll let them trigger. But anyway, let's quickly discuss this one. So in Tuesday's analysis, I shared this potential trade and I said I'd probably be entering on one of the lower time frames. I was looking at either the 8-hour or the 6-hour, something like that, because the move down was caused by news. So any news-based move, generally speaking, is going to come down fast, but then retrace fast. So that's what I was looking for. I was looking for that quick retrace, like I said. Now, that's pretty much exactly what happened. My original target was set to 1.5, just a 1.5R. But I quickly extended that as it started to push up. I first extended it to 2R, and I then set a few chart alarms. So this is how I manage a trade. I manage a trade via putting alarms on. So what I did, if I remember correctly, what I did is after this candle closed, I set an alarm around about up here, close to the top of that candle, or probably, I think it was actually about here. When that alarm rang, I had a look, I assessed what was going on. I decided that there was enough momentum to extend my target, so I extended it a bit further. Anyway, point is, I don't want to make this too dramatic. I ended up closing out with 4R, so 4 times the size. So this trade alone makes up for my bad week last week. I had a bad week last week. It was a pretty crappy week. I lost overall last week. I entered 2 bad trades. One of those trades looked like it was going really well, then it turned around on me last minute and it hit my stop loss. But you know, that happens. That's part of trading. You have bad weeks. But sometimes one good trade can make up for an entire bad week. So this trade was it for me. It made up for the entire bad week and then some. So yeah, it was a good trade. Why didn't I close before the FOMC meeting minutes? I decided to keep it open. I've been experimenting with meeting minutes. I decided to just keep it open. I thought, I looked at the news in depth. I did my research and I didn't think it was going to push it against me. So I decided to keep it open. I talked to a good friend of mine, good trader friend, who trades pure fundamentals. And I just saw no reason to close it. If it was not in profit, right? So if it was like down here, for example, near my entry, I probably would have closed out, but it was in profit at the time. So I really saw no reason to close it. And my own analysis also suggested that the FOMC was going to come out on my side, because it was quite clear that there was that the USD was weakening. Any more questions about this trade, guys? It doesn't look like anyone's typing, so I'm assuming there's no more questions. So we'll move on to the other 2 that I shared. To those of you who are watching on YouTube, I hope you joined in on this trade, and I hope you found it useful from Tuesday's analysis. GBPUSD, let's take a look at this. Now this one I didn't enter. We discussed this one in the forum. I was looking, because of, when we first talked about it, I said I wanted to enter on some of the lower time frames, and I picked AUDUSD over GBPUSD. AUDUSD just seemed better to me. But then I was waiting for this one on the daily time frame, and it just never really did anything on the daily. It's not a bad trade. Well, it's starting to look bad right now, to be completely honest. But yeah, it just hasn't really done much. If I was in this trade, I'd probably be closing it out. It's just not really done much. It's not done what I would have wanted it to do. Any questions about this one? Yeah, John, that was definitely a factor in my analysis. The indecision candle was pretty high. I mean, the indecision candle was all the way up here, Generally speaking, I want my indecision to be a bit lower, a bit more inside the area. It was a little bit high, which made me a little bit apprehensive because sellers have had more room to move down here, which they did push down here, not by much, but they did. That's why I picked AUDUSD over it. AUDUSD was like smack on top of my area. GBPUSD was above it. Just didn't really look as good. In the analysis when we were discussing it on Tuesday, I said I want GBPUSD to push a little lower. If I recall, I said that. And that's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for it to push a little lower, but it just never really did. It just stalled up there. But it doesn't look like there's any questions about that. So USDJPY. Now this is another one I didn't enter. This one actually worked out quite well. I wish I had entered it. But I just didn't really get any clear entry point. It was only on the 6 hour where the entry became clear. But by that point, it was too high in the resistance area. So GBPUSD was, I guess, too high, but it was too high on this side. Whereas USDJPY had come to this side. So USDJPY I also skipped. Unfortunate, it worked out, but what can you do? I mean, I'm not gonna cry over missing this trade, because I got a 4-hour trade here, and I used the same logic to skip this trade than I did to skip USDJPY. Using that logic, using that price action analysis to skip trades like this, more often than not, keeps you from taking bad trades. So I have no problem that this one turned into a good trade, even though I skipped it. So yeah, did anyone enter this one, the USDJPY short? No? Alright, cool. Pretty much as I expected. I don't think this one was worth entering, and I'm glad you guys didn't think so either. Ash, I got no idea why you would have entered GBPUSD but skipped AUDUSD. I know you said you were asleep, but just let me quickly check. Yeah, didn't they trigger? Didn't they trigger around the same time? If your broker is going to increase spreads so much that you're afraid to set a pending order, you need to be with a different broker. That's just, it's not logical that you can't place pending orders out of fear that your broker is going to widen spreads so much that it's going to trigger your pending orders and get you into bad trades. Change your broker, man. It's just not logical. You're in this business to make money. And the easiest way to make money in Forex is pending orders. Most of my trades are triggered by pending orders because I'm not going to be sitting in front of my computer all day. I'm not going to be on my phone all day. So being afraid to set a pending order probably means you shouldn't really go with that broker. It's like, if you just think about it logically, man, you're with a broker that you're afraid to trade with. If you're afraid to trade with your broker, it shouldn't be your broker. It's like, yeah, just trading 101, man. Change your broker. Find someone else. I think Oanda is a good broker, but I do agree the amount of pips that their spreads get to, like how much they widen their spreads is absolutely insane around news time. It's just crazy. It's too much. So yeah, just do what you need to do, man. Right, GBPUSD. Let's get on with the analysis, guys. We've been talking 12 minutes and we haven't really gone through any actual analysis. So AUDUSD, I closed this out with 4R. I could have got a bit more from it because it did continue to push up, but around this point is where I was thinking it's probably going to stall out and turn around, and it is doing just that. I could have eked a little bit more out of this trade, like I said. Probably could have got up to 6R almost, no, 5.7. But whatever, I'm happy with what I got. If you're still in this trade, you should possibly consider pulling out around about here. This area is going to, it looks like it's going to be really hard for price to break through. We can see what happened last time. See that dip there, and then it attempted again, and it pushed down, and again and again. You know, if you want to hold this for a long time and see if it manages to push up to here, go for it. But if you want to get any more than this, it's not 100% certainty, but there is a strong chance you're going to be in it for the long run for probably till next week. So if you're still in this one, just potentially exit, or just decide what the logical thing is to do in this situation for you. If you want to hold it, just understand that it is very possible that you're going to have to hold it for a while. GBPUSD, if you're in long on GBPUSD still, I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm just saying, me personally, I would close this trade out had I entered. It's just not going anywhere. All right, this is my analysis for this trade. I would have entered this trade counter trend. It's a counter trend trade. Arguably counter trend, because you could also say that it's a big bullish trend, blah, blah, blah. But let's just go with the fact that it's been trending down pretty heavily. So it's counter to at least a little bit of a trend. So yeah, counter trend trade. I would have wanted to get in for a quick little bit of profit. Buyers pushed up. They weren't able to reach my target. They stalled out up here. They're turning around now. I have an opportunity to exit around about my entry. I would just pull out of that one. It wouldn't make sense for me to hold it. USDJPY. If I were short on USDJPY, this one is more in line with the trend. This one I'll be more willing to hold. If I'd gotten into this one, I'd definitely be more willing to hold this one and just see how it plays out. This is going to be a very tricky area for it, and it's already proving to be a tricky area because it's bouncing away from it currently. But yeah, like I said, it's in line with the major trend. I think it still has a decent chance. But it is Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday, obviously, because Friday generally comes after Thursday. So, you know, if I were in the situation, I'd probably hold it till tomorrow around about lunchtime and then close out at that point. All right, so New Zealand JPY, let's take a quick look and see what's going on there. We have a potential continuation forming here on New Zealand JPY, but it's a bit below the resistance area, so I can't really do much with that. I'd want it to be inside that resistance area before I were to consider that a trade. So I'm going to keep a close eye on New Zealand JPY, see what happens, see if buyers manage to push into this resistance area. If they do, then, and we get some indecision, then I'd be looking for a short trade here. USDCHF, what's going on with you? USDCHF, it's just pushing down in between support resistance. We can't do much with that. AUDJPY, hello. Whoa. All right, that's a nice little indecision candle. My concern is it's a bit big, so my risk-reward ratio might be a bit iffy on this one. Let's take a look. Let's see if we can make this one work. I doubt it, but let's just see. Yeah, bit tricky. Might be able to enter on a retrace, something like that. Let's see how this daily candle on AUDJPY closes, and we'll go from there. But it's probably not going to happen because, as we've already established, Friday comes after Thursday. So tomorrow is going to be Friday, unfortunately, which means I probably won't want to enter a daily chart trade tomorrow. So even if I'm able to get in on a bit of a retrace and get a better risk to reward ratio, probably not going to happen. Regardless, I'm going to keep an eye on it because, hey, any potential setup, best to keep an eye on it, even if it might not end up being something that you want to trade. Euro AUD seems to be trending down pretty heavily, but it's in between support resistance, so we can't do much. Rodolfo, sorry, I'm assuming you're talking about AUDJPY, right? Because you only typed it like a minute ago. All right, cool, awesome. Just send me a message on Skype or something if you want to discuss it further. I just don't really think there's much point discussing it right now because it's just not really looking that good. Maybe on the 12-hour. But yeah, just hit me up on Skype if you want to dive into that one further. Euro GBP, what is happening here? Yeah, we have a potential reversal here, but there's no way we're going to get a good risk to reward ratio here. It's not even worth exploring that one further. Euro JPY is in between support resistance. Euro New Zealand is also in between support resistance. Euro USD is still reversing, still headed down. It's been doing this for a while. It just hasn't really made much of a move. Is anyone still short on this one? No one's typing, so I'm going to assume that's a no. GBPAUD, hello. This indecision candle is forming pretty low on the support area. Yeah. I don't like that it's that low on the support area. But then again, this support area is it's a wide area, isn't it? Because see those bounces down there? And see those bounces there? So it's a wide area. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put the support area back where it was. I'm going to keep an eye on this and see what happens. If this closes exactly like that, there might be potential for just a quick reversal. I don't think so, but it's worth keeping an eye on regardless. This is how I do it. Whenever I see something even mildly interesting, I'll move it to the top of the list and I'll just keep checking back in on it. And you know, I might decide after the candles are closed that it's looking like a decent setup. Even if I think right now this GBPAUD is just too low in the support area, it's just a bit risky. By the time it closes, I might have changed my mind. This candle might change. You know what could happen? Just as an example. Let me just draw this in. All right, so it could turn around from here, could push up to here, then it could come back down and the candle could end up looking like this. All right, so that would be a better indecision candle because that would be more on nearer to the resistance area, would give us an entry up here. It might make that stop loss a bit too wide, might give us a bad risk reward ratio, but that's not the point. The point is there is potential here, so it's worth checking back on it in a few hours just to see what it's like. GBP New Zealand. I don't even know why I have these pairs open. Nothing going on there. New Zealand USD. Who was asking me about a short New Zealand USD yesterday? This is a pretty crappy support resistance area I placed. I'm going to move it up here. That's a much better area up there. I don't know why I had it lower there. That was a bad placement by me. Sorry, guys. I've adjusted this area to the 70, 230. It's more in line with these recent bounces, especially this one from the other day. But anyway, that doesn't change the short. All right, Ash and Patrice, you guys are short. This is a good setup, guys. It's in line with the major trend. So you've got the trend on your side. The trend is your friend. I don't believe that for a minute. I think it's a stupid saying. But at the same time, when you're entering in the direction of the trend trade is a higher probability trade. So you guys are in a higher probability trade. You entered on the 6 hour, that's fine. It doesn't really change much. 6 hours, just splitting that indecision candle up into two. It's the same thing. Yeah, I mean, All right, what you need to watch out for on this trade, in case you guys don't know. Patrice, I think you're new. I could be mistaking you with someone else because I can't really see last names. So you might not know, but Ash should be aware of this. When you enter a trade, your first thing you do is look to the left. What do we see to the left of this one? We see bounces, we see price stalling, we see bounces and bounces and bounces, we see wick bounces, we see all kinds of stuff. So because we see all that to the left, we know that when price approaches this area, it is very possible that it's going to stall around about here. So if you're short, I should just look at the numbers. My favorite thing about TradingView is this tool here. Allows you to easily visualize the trade. So by the time it reaches this problem area, you're only at a risk to reward ratio of 1. So in that sense, it is risky. But you know what? I'm not saying it wasn't worth taking this trade or this was a mistake. Obviously, any trade you take, there's going to be something wrong with it. There's almost never a case where the trade is absolutely perfect. With this trade, what's wrong with it is that there's a lot of mess over to this side and it could get snagged here. Very possible. But other than that, this is a pretty good looking setup. Just see how it plays out. Rodolfo, is it too late to enter? It is most certainly too late to enter. So what did I just say? I said that when it reaches this area, it's going to have a risk to reward ratio of 1. So already that's a problem for this trade. It's not a problem that would stop you from entering the trade at the right spot, but it's a problem for this trade. So if you were to enter now, all this time later, you'd have to keep the same stop loss because that's a smart stop loss. Now, your risk to reward ratio by the time it reaches the problem area is 0.4. That's way, way, way too risky. By the time it reaches its target, your risk to reward ratio is 1.2. By the time it reaches a 1.5, which would be your minimum, it has to break through the support area. By the time it reaches a risk to reward ratio of 2, it has to break well through the support area and make a new low beyond the most recent bounce. Not a smart idea to enter now. If you're too late to enter a trade, you're best off sitting out. It's a very, very newbie mistake to try and enter a trade that's already moving down. Because all you're going to do is you're going to end up with a bad risk to reward ratio or a worse risk to reward ratio. And more often than not, the trade's just not going to have enough steam to reach your target because your target's further away. All right, finally, USD CAD. What's going on with this one? Nothing much. Yeah. Okay. So let's summarize, guys. AUDJPY. Potential short trade here. It's a bit messy. We'll keep a close eye on it. Just see how it plays out. We could do some creative entries with this one. By creative entries, I mean enter on a bit of a pullback, something like that. We could get a little creative with this one. Maybe even an early entry. You know, I almost always enter at the break of indecisions low, but you know, sometimes you can give yourself a little bit of liberty with that and change the entry point. I'm just saying there's potential here. So let's keep a close eye on AUDJPY for a short. I'm going to be watching it on the 8-hour and above. GBPAUD, again, we'll just keep a close eye on this one, see how it plays out. We might need to get creative with this one too if we want to enter. But I'm going to stress both of these. It's unlikely that I'm going to end up trading them. But I'm just saying there is a potential. We'll discuss it further on the forum. Yeah, I mean, that wraps it up, guys. There's nothing else really going on. Thanks for watching the analysis. I hope it was useful. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button below. Also, for instant notifications when I post analysis or other cool videos, subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button below. Once the setups I share in this analysis trigger, I post live updates as I manage the trade, such as my entry, exit, stop, and when to get out of the trade. For these updates, add me on Facebook or Twitter by clicking the buttons below. I'll see you in the next video.